Welcome back to OtakuDaiKun. Dai here, and today we're gonna look at some fun Fate/Type Moon related fan animations. Given how popular the franchise has become, it's no wonder that the Nasuverse has inspired fans to create their own derivative works. Some are serious, others silly. Some are fairly amateurish, while others are just a step away from looking professional. In either case, my buddy Angra's Advocate here on YouTube sent me a massive list of different animations, and I want to share with you the ones that spoke to me. They aren't necessarily the best or most popular, but rather my own personal favorites, which I hope you've come to expect from me. Naturally, these works took a ton of effort to create, so rather than show them entirely for my own gain, I'll instead be reviewing them, sort of. Each video will be linked in the description, so you can check them out with full audio and not my commentary. What I'm providing is just a teaser. That said, let's take a look at our first one. We've got a battle between Gilgamesh and Enkidu, rendered in black and white. It's not the most polished piece, but I found it interesting for its low resolution. Its lines remind me of MS Paint, yet the actual movements are very sophisticated. At first glance, I thought this was merely a retracing of some existing fight scene. I suppose it still could be, but I'm not familiar with the original if so. Either way, it's cool how much spatial awareness can be conveyed through such minimal details. This video's been uploaded to YouTube by Sai, and you can watch it for yourself through a link in the description. Following a similar style, we have one called Shadow Border Crisis, which has a ton of Chaldea's allies rushing into the heat of battle. We've got Bunyan, Ishtar, Gilga, Babbage, Kintoki, Tititoria, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, and more. It's very easy to miss some of the minor details that slip by in the end. You'll have to watch it over and over again to fully appreciate it. The video was made by Dekapon Magi, the same artist behind our next animation. We've got Ushi Wakamaru from the Babylonia Singularity facing off against Gorgon. I'm fairly certain this came out before the actual Babylonia anime, making it all the more impressive. The choreography is phenomenal, and you know me, I just have to gush about those cultured camera angles. The whole thing could have easily fit right into the official scene with just a little more polish. Considering Ushi's not exactly top tier in FGO's meta, and her melty blood version is censored, I truly appreciate seeing her on display here. One of the most common types of fan animations you'll find online are recreations of the promo video for Hatsune Miku's song Rolling. Fate has no shortage of them, but this particular version stands out for being especially clean and expressive. It features Kirshtaria Wodim and the other members of Team A tumbling down a steep incline. As Woody from Toy Story says, this is falling with style, and Kirshtaria rocks it with all sorts of adorable flips and twirls. Its ending is especially cute, as Ophelia comes running with a first aid kit. Originally, this video was posted to Nico Video, but it's since been archived on YouTube by a user named Momo. It's also really common to see various anime openings recreated with characters from other franchises. Here's a very well done variant of Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, featuring Fate Grand Order characters. Mocha Channel here went the extra mile, reimagining the cast with Dragon Maid's art style. It's not the most original concept out there, but its execution is on point and reminds me of how insane this opening actually is. This is another one that you can appreciate more by watching multiple times. Even crazier is Memory of Grand Order, a mock OP for FGO that isn't a copy of an existing opening, but rather something wholly original. This includes the music, and it seems plenty professional. Admittedly, this feels more like an opening for Fate Grand Carnival, what with its bubbly atmosphere, but if you told me that's what this was, I'd probably believe you. To pull off these impressive production values, it's no wonder this video was a cooperative effort by Kinema106 and a team of others who can be found on Twitter. If this were part of an actual anime, it would be one of those openings that I would always choose to watch. It's fast, fun, and snappy. I can't exactly post the audio here, so you'll definitely want to watch the full video for yourself. Next up, we've got a sprite animation originally made by Techless Ways for Newgrounds. Before fans had easy access to 3D software, we had Flash and sprite rips from fighting games. By limiting themselves to a side-scrolling perspective, artists could tell all sorts of crazy stories just by repurposing a game's existing assets. In this case, we have Shift, a series of short films featuring Ciel from Tsukihime and Melty Blood. She's in some sci-fi facility, beating the ever-loving shit out of KOF and Marvel vs. Capcom characters. Just what did Jill do to deserve this treatment? While the gore can be comedically gross at times, like an episode of Happy Tree Friends, the actual fight choreography is spectacular. I'd say it's the 2D equivalent of what Monty Ohm pulled off with his Dead Fantasy series. Ciel really comes off as the most badass fighter around, even though this has almost nothing to do with her actual lore. Techless does plenty of fight scenes from other franchises, but this Shift series has a well-deserved obsession with Ciel and her hardcore pile bunker. The YouTube series Mini Rumble features sprite animation battles between different characters. In this example, we have Shiki Ryogi from Melty Blood fighting against Line from Under Night in Birth. I'll admit it's a weird matchup, considering how Under Night has higher resolution sprites. Even so, the animation here is extremely sophisticated, and unlike the Shift series, this one goes hard with a moving camera that pans and zooms to accommodate the action. For as awesome as that is, I'm a bit pissed off that Shiki loses the fight, getting stabbed in the neck with her own knife. Seems implausible from a lore standpoint, but then again, I hate arguing versus battles. I can still appreciate the artistry though. A more unexpected sprite animation pits Black Princess Toka from Date Alive against Skahak. I don't think either of these characters feature in actual fighting games, so it's possible these were edited from existing sprites. In either case, it's very impressive, and both of these girls are smoking hot. The choreography and presentation here is a bit more stiff, but its creativity more than makes up for it. Ghost Artorias did a fantastic job here. This time around, the Type Moon character actually wins, which is shocking, given how Toka keeps calling upon other Date Alive characters to help out. The YouTube channel Cinematic Resolve also makes sprite animations as part of a series called Monday Anime Sprite Fights. This particular one has Melty Blood's Koma Kishima battling against Aoko Aozaki. It stands out for having a soft glow effect, more aggressive camera motion, and breaks for dialogue. I notice a lot of squash and stretch with the sprites, making their movements even more intense. Unfortunately, the sprites are either zoomed in too close or have this blur effect that makes it harder to make out their details. Beyond that, the post-production effects add a nice touch, but could use a bit of tweaking in my opinion. Also, Aoko loses, so that's frustrating. Luckily, both combatants are given their time to shine during the fight. Cinematic Resolve has another cool sprite animation pitting Shiki Tono up against Shiki Ryogi. This one's a tad older and less intense, but I'm still blown away by its quality. I sorta wish they went with the original color palettes, but that's fairly trivial. I can't believe how good people got with animating in Flash. Yet again, I'm upset seeing Best Girl lose, especially after dominating most of the fight. I suspect the animator's a bit of a shonen bro, preferring the male characters. Of course, I'm biased in the other direction. Regardless, I appreciate what's here quite a bit. The next few animations ask what if, focusing on aspects of the Nasuverse that don't exist, but would be cool if they did. This one is called First Saber, and it was made by Soul Cora with help from Nikami Studio. It's a tribute to Ku Prototype, or rather a saber variant that combines swordplay with runes to slay a massive snake. Kinda feels like if you gave Ku Archer's projection abilities. While it's short, I could totally see this being a larger project. Here, we have a fan-made Noble Phantasm for Zeus. Dude obliterates a helpless group of mini Nobus. It was created by a user named Bye Bye Xiao Tutu and was originally uploaded to Bilibili. A lot of really cool stuff appears there, but it seems YouTube is a better place to archive its content. One of the more official-looking animations here is Saber Plays FGO, a series of short skits based off the comic strips from Tutumo 99. This anime adaptation was made by Rei Soso, and oftentimes does look just like a commercial production. You can't tell by my video, but I'm impressed by the effort put into voice acting. None of the seiyuu are the originals, but most of these stand-ins capture the correct vibe. This series feels right at home alongside Carnival Phantasm, Grand Carnival, and Learning with Manga. They're adorable, and you don't want to miss out. What if Tsukihime had an anime? That is, an anime that actually followed Takeuchi's art style. Well, this fan animation has you covered. Its animation isn't quite up to snuff, but it does serve as a fantastic proof of concept. The colors and lighting are what truly stand out here, depicting visuals as though they were produced by UFO Table. In that regard, Rockman Lab did a fantastic job. It's a shame that this had to be rescued from Bilibili in such low quality. There's bound to be a cleaner render out there, and yet this is the best I can find. Who knows, maybe one day UFO Table will make this a reality. If they do though, I hope it comes after a Fate Route remake. That's my priority. I covered this during my Type Moon Iceberg, but fans created a fake trailer for what a Tsukihime collab with FGO would look like. This was before we got an official collaboration, and in some ways, looks more fun than what we actually got. The details are nice, including possible mystic codes for Ritsuka matching Shiki's school uniforms. Obviously, the visuals are lacking that studio-made polish, but when you stop to look at all the lighting and color details, it's actually insanely impressive. I'm not sure how this would play out, now that we have Fabro Rowan at the Wandering Sea. That said, it makes total sense that Vlad would be participating in an event like this, what with vampires and such. This video was uploaded to YouTube by user Chubo Chaoyo. Still on the Tsukihime bandwagon, here's a really short but amazing music clip that brings to life panels straight from the Tsukihime manga. I can't stand the rap song, Out of the Hood, but Mei Zeke's visuals are fire. I'd love to learn how this was made, as you'd think it would need extremely high-resolution scans of the manga pages. Lots of small touches, from color, lens flares, and fire effects, take these scenes to a new level. The compositing of each shot, along with its snappy editing, damn, I'd love to see a much longer version. If that came about though, I'd prefer they switched the track to something that actually fits Tsukihime. To be fair though, this next animation is also a huge tonal shift. Shiga on YouTube made a parody of the Miles Luttrell scene from White Chicks, featuring Neco-Arc singing 1,000 miles to some weird guy out of Call of Duty. I think his name is Ghost? Either way, the vocals are this cursed AI clone of Neco-Arc's Multi-Blood voices, which makes it sound all scratchy and hilarious. At first glance, the animation seems pretty simplistic, but there are lots of details that help elevate it. The passage of lights through the windshield and hand-painted backgrounds add a sophistication that comedically clashes with the absurdity of it all. My favorite parts are all the ridiculous expressions and gestures Neco-Arc makes. Given that this one requires the audio to fully appreciate, you've gotta go check it out on Shiga's channel. Equally unsettling is Neco-Arc's Serenade, an animation made by ZachDude that's inspired by the art of Miss Icy Art. Like the previous vid, it too uses an AI voice clone of Neco-Arc to sing just the two of us. I can't possibly fathom how this hilarious abomination came to be, and it's more about the memes than a proper Tsukihime fan video, but that's okay. There's something to be admired about how unhinged Arc's movements are. She dances around like an organic blob that warps and bends through the frame. It uses an art style that reminds me a bit of sidewalk chalk. The lines are thick and rough, and they help to marry the parts that move a lot with those that don't. Seriously, Neco-Arc is an enigma, and this is one of the weirder ways she's evolved from beyond her fighting game. Gotta watch this one separately for the audio also. Her raspy voice is a critical part of the humor. Now, I love Live 2D, or any software that achieves the same effect. There's something magical about a still image coming to life through very subtle movements. While a lot of mobile games are using this technology now, Fate Grand Order predates it and has no intention of making such a dramatic overhaul to its visuals. That's where fans come in, turning the game's craft essences into looping animatics. Mitsuba Yuki brings us this delightful art of Artoria, shimmering in the sun while being bombarded by a heavy wind. What makes this especially impressive is how it takes into consideration which parts of Artoria's outfit would flutter in the wind and which parts would remain solid. Her small tilt of the head and blinking make her feel truly alive. The addition of particle effects reminds me of when we first see her whip out Excalibur in Fate Zero. Theoretically, Type Moon has the resources to pull this off for all of their assets, or at least the servant cards. Just imagine how epic that would be. For what you can't imagine, Carl Farming has you covered. This render of Skahak Skathi shows her soaring through the sky, a detail that I never really paid much attention to before. We've got her looking to the side and downward, confident as she checks her flight path. Her runes form and vanish around her hand, and oh, we can't possibly ignore the booba. They waft in the breeze so alluringly. It must have taken a while to separate all of Skathi's draping strands of hair and even the protruding parts of her headdress. There's just so much personality breathing from this animation. Carl does it again with Reen's Formal Craft card. The movement here isn't as dynamic, but it makes up for that with the shimmering glow of her gems. Rather than falling, Reen is floating with a prideful gravitas. Her hair fans outward, while the fluffy lining of her dress bounces up and down. I could totally see this kind of setup being used to turn Reen into a VTuber, which would be pretty funny given her lack of technology skills. Naturally, the original craft essence was already beautiful, but it took a lot of talent and effort for Carl to transform it to this degree. Our last live 2D animation, made by Light3010 on YouTube, features Saber's 15th anniversary art. She's bathed in sunlight, basking in a rain of falling petals. It's the perfect composition for a computer wallpaper. It's too bad YouTube compresses some of the quality. Blurry artifacts always suck. I really love this image on its own, but now I can enjoy it in an elevated form. Light3010 makes a ton of awesome videos just like this, and I can't recommend them enough. Another of my favorite channels is Mirabeau Studios, which is filled with short, silly animations made in Source Filmmaker. They're extremely expressive and loaded with memey humor. This one here is called Mordred Usurps the VTuber Throne. I chose it because it has my two favorite characters. I love how they're both voiced with British accents. Another ongoing gag in Mirabeau's videos is of Jeanne d'Arc being friends with Doom Guy. They get millions of views, and if you're not one of them, you should be. These last two videos are something special, as they tug at your heartstrings. Fate Grand Order's story is often undermined by its basic visuals. We have to use our imagination to bring its best moments to life. Well, Jiaowo Mianbei was able to give us a much clearer vision of what Lost Belt 6 could have looked like. This tribute, the dream fairy tale embellished on the other side, recaps the Lost Belt's highlights with grace and charm. It's presented like an animated storybook, filled with shots of glory, horror, beauty, and hope. This is seriously one of the coolest fan works I've ever seen, and luckily it was ported from Bilibili to YouTube for easy access. If you've had the pleasure of experiencing the story in its original form, this animation is sure to bring you to tears. Even without context, it's bound to stir your curiosity. Following the exact same style, I want to end things with this video, If I Could Meet You Again One Day. It uses the Babylonia credits theme, Prover, to highlight all the best moments across Cosmos and the Lost Belt in general. It's the absolute best way to relive and realize just how epic our journey has been so far. This was a Chinese-made fan production, a collaborative effort. Unfortunately, I can't read Chinese, but if you can, there's a credits roll at the end that continues with even more gorgeous visuals. The illustrations in this video are refined and exceptionally detailed. The vast majority of them are in color. Like the previous entry, it features female Ritsuka, which I love, given how her male version usually steals the spotlight. This homage brings us right up to Lost Belt 7, which is fitting for my channel, since we still haven't reached that point in English. I hope you've enjoyed my breakdown of these kick-ass fan animations. Don't forget to watch them in their entirety through the links in the description. Do you happen to know of any other great fan animations? Let me know which ones you enjoy the most in the comments below. Thanks for watching.
If you enjoy this channel, help us grow by liking, commenting, sharing the video, subscribing to OtakuDaiKun, and
most of all, smashing that notification bell so you don't miss out on all our anime lore, discussions, and Let's Play content.
You can support us directly through Patreon, Subscribestar, or a YouTube membership, all of which come with benefits like spicy exclusive vids and early access.
As always, celebrate your fandom. I want to give a special shout out to all my $10 and up supporters: Video Gamer 75, Dante Pendragon, Lunarworks, Stephen Elak, Samuel Gersten, The Nonchalant Ostrich, Otaku Mom, Jens Bauman, Mystic Samurai 1983, Lord Ormagoden, Free Brick, Alexis Yukio Gomez Yamato, Link Pendrago, Observer Bellis, James Hewitt, Uncanny EXP, Zamas Autonomous, Yuki Eidos, Scout, Crow Kalem, Sal Soto, Tristan Riggin, Major, Meifu Mado, Caitlin P, Sogai CH, Vladimirovna, The Taz 96, Jonathan Padua, Kengo X77, Hersha of E-Rated Hands, Alester Bernadotte, and Akakaze Yume. Thank you all so much.